What up, everybody? This is Chef Jack Harris at the Talk Team Podcast.
This is Jade with the Jessica Northop team from Denver, Colorado, and you are listening to the Real Talk Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Real Talk Podcast. Today I'm super excited to introduce my friend and colleague and one of the Denver, Colorado founders of the Compass office, Jessica Northop. Just to give you a quick background on Jessica, she was previously working at Sotheby's. She's been there for 9 years. Prior to that was a realtor at CRS, Coldwell Banker United for 2 years. She is one of the top brokers at Compass, sells about 75 to 100 homes a year. Very excited that she's agreed to spend some time with us today. Jessica is also part of Give Back Homes, which is a nonprofit started by the founder of Tom's Shoes, where buy a pair of shoes, one pair is given back to charity. Other than that, as far as our conversation for today is concerned, we will talk Colorado market, a little bit about Jessica's background, how she became a real estate broker, what she likes about Compass, her experience since joining Compass, since this is still one of our relatively new markets as of today, August 2019. Jessica, welcome. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. So stoked. You have a really nice office.
Thank you.
And your colleagues are awesome.
They are.
Your
We have a
manager's
really
cool.
very good group of people.
Yeah.
Great. Very collaborative, the Compass word, but really great energy.
Yeah, I mean, I walked in and everybody's already smiling. They don't even know me, they're already smiling. Something about the Colorado air and the culture here at Compass.
Rocky Mountain High.
Yeah.
Wink.
Yeah.
That's what we say.
And your team is really nice too.
Yeah, thank you.
Everybody's been super accommodating. So just a little bit about yourself. Just tell me a little bit about where you're from, where you grew up, where you went to school. Did you study real estate?
Yep.
What's the beginning here?
Yeah. The beginning is I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in Indiana, southern Indiana. I have 4 sisters, so 5 girls in our family. And, we were very involved in a lot of activities growing up.
It's a lot of females in one house,
It's a lot. So I think that the background there is I think that, from the early point, organized chaos was just part of my life.
Yes, real estate is organized chaos.
Organized chaos. And I actually got into real estate when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
Yes.
What was the story there?
That is a long story, so let's skip it was probably a little bit out of rebellion, I had some parents who wanted me to do certain things. I said, I'm not going to do that. And they said, you're going to do something. And I said, I'm going to get my real estate license. It's a true story.
Did they say, you got to go to college?
You have to do something. And I said,
if you're not going to college, get out of my house.
Basically, it's like, you got to do something. Okay, so I was like, well, I'm going to get my real estate license. I think they both thought also I'd probably be good at it, personality-wise. I'm a people person. I can relate to a lot of people. So got my real estate license at 18. It was really from the age of 18 that I was like
Did you have a mentor or somebody you aspired to when you got into real estate, or did you just go in blind?
I just went in blind.
Good for you.
Went in blind. First day at the office, I'll never forget. I was an assistant. They brought a piece of paper and said, order the PR. And I just sat there for a good, I was like, what the hell is the PR? I had property report. It's a county record.
I'm sorry. I thought it was public relations. We don't even use that acronym
Well,
anymore.
that was, back in the day anyway. So I walked around the office, for probably a couple hours asking people, where would I get, I had to learn the business from the ground up. So I think that's one of the strengths is I have had to literally work for every piece of business I've ever gotten.
Tell me about your first deal.
I was an assistant.
Oh, assistant as a buyer.
As a buyer's agent, assistant. And it was
so you were on a team.
I was on a team.
Yeah.
And the head agent had a listing.
Yeah.
And we had an offer that was out, and he had submitted a counter offer, and I had to actually drive it there because there was no fax, there was no scanning, and I had to take it, and I had to leave it at the office, and then I went and showed it to a new buyer because we weren't under contract yet.
How did they typically do it then? Most offices had faxes back then?
There were no faxes yet. This was circa 95.
My goodness.
Literally.
There's no fax in 95?
No. Or it was just barely, no. I don't think there were. It was where you had 3 copies. This is embarrassing. Are you going to play this part?
Great, of course. This is the juice. So you drove it over.
So anyway, I drove it over. I laid it down, and then I went and showed the house to the buyers for him. It wasn't under contract yet. And I came back, and they said, we want to write an offer. And I was like, thinking, we already took that counter offer. So I came back to the office. I was like, they really liked it. They wanted to write an offer. And he's like, where's the counter? I said, it's over at Coldwell Banker. He's like, go pick it up. So I got back in my car, ran over, and I said, can I have that counter proposal back from a different agent?
Yeah.
Took it back. We tore it up, and then we wrote on my buyers, and we double-ended it.
Oh, good. Oh, wow.
So we could bring it back. So that was the first deal. I still remember the house.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And how big was the commission check? Just out of
That part I
curiosity.
don't remember, actually.
As an assistant, you get like 2% of
Not a lot.
2% of 4%.
Not a lot. 2% of a half a percent.
Yeah, 2%
Yeah,
of
you live to
1%.
see another day, basically.
Yeah, there you go. So,
Yeah.
so part of your job back then was you had to use how to use a fax machine. You have to learn how to use a
I've
fax
gone
machine.
through everything: fax machines, scanners, dial-up.
What did
It's
they use
embarrassing.
typewriters back then?
No, I'm not even going to say that.
Okay,
Maybe.
well, no. Believe it or not,
You
wrong with typewriters. I use typewriters still.
handwritten. I think it was mainly you did a handwritten contract because there were 3 pieces: the white, the yellow, and the pink.
Okay.
And then
yeah.
afterwards, you would give
Okay.
them a copy.
Yeah, the carbon
Yes.
copy.
Carbon copies.
That's it.
That's
yeah.
right.
It's like certified bank checks. You still
This
get
is
carbon
very
copies.
embarrassing.
Not at all. This is cool. No, this is cool.
This is cool.
Because we're at a tech firm now. So
Right.
this is the
Gone. It's
future.
done everything.
We're going
Future.
into the future.
That's right.
New York City, we don't see a lot of like discount agencies.
Yeah.
But I was at Tom Ferry last week, and that was the big topic.
Yeah.
It was, how do you compete against
Mm-hmm.
Redfin, EXP, and some of the other iBuyers.
Yep.
And Tom Ferry showed a chart. It was like in 2000, it was traditional brokerages had 95% of the pie.
Yep.
And then the rest, and then the 10% was broken into FSBOs, broken into some iBuying or
Right.
smaller buyers, and then some off-market
Right.
deals, right? Family
Right.
family deals, whatnot. So, and then fast forward now, the pie was broken down where it was about 80% traditional brokerages, and then 10% iBuyers, and then the bottom 10% was, again, broken into the
Right.
same similar segments. It was off-market deals, FSBOs,
Sure.
and whatnot. So
Sure.
80% of traditional brokerages, about 10 to, I think, 15% was discount agencies. So there's a big rise of discount agencies, and the low commission model has been coming in. How do you pitch, when you go against either a buy-side rep or a sell-side rep, how do you win those pitch pitch meetings?
Well, I would counter that a little bit, but I think
Yeah.
because I think if you go back in history, there's always been
Yeah.
some
It's not
form of a for sale by owner, FSBO, or discounted type brokerage.
Discount
I think
model.
that model has always been there.
Yeah.
Is it becoming a little bit different with the iBuyer? Yes, et cetera, but it's always been there. How I feel about that is basically, though that clientele is not my clientele. So I don't feel like I'm really competing against that because it's definitely a different level of service, and most of my clients are going to be coming from referral, past clients, et cetera, and they are expecting a certain level of expertise, experience, service.
Okay.
So for me, I don't feel like that's a big part of what I'm competing against at the moment.
Good. So has anyone ever asked you, this company does it for 4%, this company does it for 2%, or this
Yep.
buyer
Yep.
broker, Redfin, will give me back
Sure.
2%, whatever
Right.
it may be.
Right.
How do you counter that?
I think we go with Robert's answer to that, which is discounts can be expensive.
Discounts can be expensive.
You know.
There you go. That's right. When you stack the cards and bring so much
Right.
value to the table,
Right.
they understand that the discount value model may not be the best when
Right.
representing their one of their most expensive assets that they personally own.
And many times when I go on a listing appointment, I do a very thorough listing appointment.
Yeah.
And by the end, they look at it and they'll say, "What's your commission? 6% or whatever it may be,
Sure.
a full commission." Well, we've never paid that, but based on what you're providing, I see why.
Yeah.
And so many times when you
Good.
can support the value that you're bringing, that's not going to be a topic of conversation.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and that I completely understand. Discount models in New York City has always been the same. They've been around, but they disappear.
Right.
They don't last.
Right.
They haven't been around.
Right.
So I think Denver, being the market that it is, they're not cheap homes.
No.
They're expensive. You have, from Denver to Aspen, you have $1 million to $50 million
Right.
dollar listings, and that type of asset you can't really sell with a discount
No.
representation.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah, so I was in Tom Ferry for the first time, and man, the room was tense. People.
Interesting.
I mean, this is not, Tom Ferry is cool because it's
Right.
not just New York and LA.
Right.
It's like you got Arkansas. And,
Right. Colorado.
Yeah. Or you have
Right.
like
Yeah.
Minnesota, and
Yeah.
they were scared.
Yeah.
I could feel the vibe was not as joyous as it was maybe perhaps in the past. I don't know. It was my first time there, but
Okay.
really cool stuff. What are some of your biggest challenges this year in 2019?
2019 biggest challenges. I mean, I think my biggest challenge is just time management
Yeah.
and staying on our schedule, which we try to do.
Yeah.
Fitting everything in, always creating the value. Staying on track that way.
Okay. What do you mean by
you know-
creating the value? being hands-on more?
Yeah, being hands-on, always, it's like you're going to be there during the transaction. What value are you providing before, during, and after the transaction to maintain a relationship with your client that's authentic and real and provide real value to them? Busy with the transaction, I'm always trying to have events or include community. So making sure we're still doing a lot of that stuff and staying in flow with our clients that way is important to me.
How hard is it, or at what point does it become so hard if you're selling? I mean, to me, 75 individual homes is a lot of houses. How do you stay how do you stay hands-on with that many deals happening?
You create a team, and you create systems, and you have a director of operations who's sitting right here with us, who keeps us on track. Keeps us on track, does it follow through. Systems is going to be the way to, keep everything in order. And keep moving ahead.
Good.
Yeah.
For just going back into pitch and battles, I mean, I'm curious, just because we're in the same business, how do you win your pitches? What's your strategy when you go in?
Strategy is just go hard.
You don't have to give me all your secrets. Go hard.
I think that my angle is basically I'm very direct. That's my personality anyway. I don't sugarcoat things.
Sure.
I really try to be very detailed about the marketing, about the game plan, custom marketing plan for my clients, and then really dial in the comps and understanding their market, what's happening. It's confusing. I think it's very confusing for a consumer.
Do you send in your pitch package before the meeting?
I do not.
No.
I
Do you
send
bring in a
testimonials.
pitch package at the meeting?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Do you like to force them to sit down and go page by page, or are you more about... Typically, most people don't read it, right? They don't want to read a 20-page...
I do. I would say 80% of the time is sitting down and going through it, going through the marketing plan and also the comps.
Okay.
I think at the luxury level, it's a different conversation, and they're not wanting to sit at a table. And they want to have a conversation, and they want to. That's a different pitch for sure. Yeah,
they want to know you. They don't care what's on the
exactly.
sheet.
That's correct.
Right. A glossy piece of sheet of paper isn't going to do much.
No, it's a conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. If let's just say some of the listeners are newer agents, what is some of your advice that you would give for someone that may be going on their first pitch?
Yeah. Advice for new agents going on their first pitch. I would practice.
Practice, okay.
Practice.
Like role play.
Role play. Well, I think when I would go on my pitches, to rewind a little bit, after I was a buyer's agent, then I became a listing agent. So I was actually the listing agent for a top producing agent. And it was basically learn the pitch, memorize it, practice it, do it over and over, because then when you get in front of them, you've had the experience. It's all about experience, and don't be afraid. That would be another really huge...
Don't be afraid. Don't act scared. Huh?
Well, don't act scared, but don't... I think a lot of agents that I've seen, or newer agents, they want help. So they're going to go to a mentor and say, come with me. Can you help me? They don't... It's baptism by fire. You have to do it yourself. You have to learn on your own. You have to be red and splotchy.
Love it.
You got to be nervous. You have to embarrass yourself. That's how you learn.
You got to make mistakes.
You do. You absolutely do.
It sucks, but you got to.
You have to do it yourself. That's the only way to learn.
See, I love that about what you just said, because you came in by yourself. You started the business by yourself. It's not like you were you were brought in by a mentor into the business. So that's what you precisely did. You learned by fire. Yep,
you baptized by fire, and you'll learn to think on your feet pretty quickly. And come up with an answer to a question when someone's staring at you from across the table.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is running the gauntlet is the best way to learn.
Just go.
Yeah.
Don't always ask for help. Don't always bring somebody in. You have to do it. Then you know you did it yourself. That helps build confidence.
Nice. Okay. Just kind of the confidence. Yeah, that's a big play in our business. You have to have it. Otherwise, you can't sell. If you're going to sell somebody's $2 million home and you don't have any confidence, you're not going to be in the business very long. Right. Switching to. You had confidence. Speaking of confidence, you had confidence to come to Compass, a company that you probably, let's just say Denver people didn't know what Compass was a year ago.
No.
Aspen, maybe a small, Aspen was very early, but no one knew Compass in Denver. So, so who approached you? What happened? What was the conversation like? Why did you join?
Yeah. Well, I think we'd heard rumblings of Compass, but we hadn't really but market's been very good and very busy, so you haven't necessarily been looking to make a change.
Right. Nobody wants to make a change when business is good. Why rock the ship?
With that said, the market is changing and real estate industry is changing so much right now. It's kind of like, you should be changing, but I'm just going to keep working. So when I was approached, which it was, say, December of this last year of 2018, they Compass called. And I was like, I'm not going. I don't want to meet with them. I don't, that's not what I'm doing. I absolutely am not moving.
Yeah.
And they were very persistent. Thankfully they were. And I said, I'm going to go so I know what the competition is doing. If they're going to launch, I want to know what the competition is doing in Denver.
So you want to keep your enemies closer. That's
right. And really, after the first meeting, I was blown away. I was blown away with the direction, with the energy. I was pretty blown away.
What was one thing that made you think like, wow, actually this is way better? Do you have anything specific that you could recall that made you become blown away?
I think that some of the concierge program, I think being different, like what's the differentiator? How are you going to be different? And everything is same. And I felt that way for a long time. How I always try to say, how can I be different? And Compass is bringing something different, bringing value. I always want to bring value. And it's not about pumping myself up or the company. It's like, how can I bring value to those clients? Compass Concierge, a platform that's user-friendly. Those are things that really resonated with me. And then the other side of it, being aligned with a company who is collaborative, new energy, the Compass Cares program, that's something that I'm really drawn to. Yeah. And so that played to me really strongly as well.
Tell me about, this is probably more office gossip than anything else, but when the day you decided to leave, what was that transition like? And what was the conversation like?
Oh, lean in. This is gossip. I would say it was intense.
Yeah.
I would say it was intense.
Because you've been there, I looked at your history. You've been there for so long.
There were 4 initial people. We had 4 people on January 2nd at Compass. Now we have 150. Yeah. So we were the first 4 that made the decision, and that was a big deal. It's a big deal. It was a big deal in the market.
I tried reaching out to you. That it was a busy moment. I remember.
Yeah, it was a very busy moment, and it was difficult. I'm very thankful for the experience I had with all the brokers that I've ever been with and the people that I know.
And your managers,
but
sure.
I think when you see an opportunity, everyone deserves to take an opportunity. Compass is giving an opportunity a different way, and that should be celebrated, and people should wish you well and let you go down that path.
Did they try to give you a better offer and call you back?
Oh my gosh, you want the dirt. You want the dirt.
Let's just say it was a good conversation.
Say that Compass is a model that a lot of companies are following.
Yeah.
So they're a leader. So
when you joined, naturally a lot of brokers may have called you, right? Hey, what is it like? Yep. Why did you do that?
Yeah, they did.
They did. And now they're here, or?
A lot of them are here.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of wait and see, but there's also a lot of people. It's a big deal to make a shift, and especially, again, in a market that's very strong and somewhere that you're comfortable.
Okay.
You have to, again, have that courage to take the risk, to see the vision, and want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And some people, that takes them a little bit longer, but I think we're growing really strong here in Denver, and we're getting the right people at the right time.
Okay. So, in terms of the Denver market, just to tell us a little bit, especially if we're out of towners, or there's a lot of New York listeners. Mm-hmm. Give us a 2-minute breakdown of the Denver market, how it works. Mm-hmm. What's going on in Denver, and then also a little about your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So Denver market has been really good. It's been really strong probably since 2011 is when we started to really rebound.
And it's not because of the weed market, right?
Well, I think there's certain subsections of people that may believe that.
Yeah, New Yorkers.
New Yorkers, so, come visit anytime. We love visitors. And you can buy legally. I don't know that that's been a huge part. There's probably a section of business that's come from people moving here, maybe do that. That may be more, I think, maybe more what I've actually experienced is on the medical side of wanting to be here for a real illness, and not necessarily I'm moving there to exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
So their business is moving in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Just quickly touch base on that. So weed is not a federally recognized business, so you can't really open up a bank if you have a weed business. Can you buy a home cash from a weed business in Denver?
You mean, can a weed business buy something cash?
Yeah,
Is that what you meant?
I guess
I
you
do
could.
have clients who are in that industry,
Yeah.
and so everything is a little bit more tricky on the purchasing side of things, of
Yeah.
where their money
Because
is and
you
how it's
can't
tracked.
combine
Exactly.
national financing,
Right.
let's just say a Fannie Mae
Right.
backed
Right.
bank, like
Right.
Bank of
Hard
America.
money. We've had hard money loans.
Hard money
money
loans.
is where they're usually going for
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay. But see, New Yorkers think it's a huge part of the business, but it's not.
It's really not.
Right. So
No.
you're demystifying that.
Yeah, 100%.
notion.
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
We still want you to come visit, though.
Of course. I mean, I think a lot of the listeners are coming to visit
Right.
to entertain
Yeah.
everything that Denver has to offer,
Exactly.
like the mountains too.
Exactly.
And maybe a little weed. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Well, at Red Rocks,
But,
of course.
and then, so a little bit more about the Denver market in general.
Yeah, so it's been really strong. We've had a lot of relocation business coming in and out of Denver for the last 7 or 8 years. That's been a big piece of the business. In the 80s, it was oil and gas.
Yeah.
And then we kind of crashed and went down. In the late 90s, it was telecom. Into the early 2000s, crashed. We were kind of a one industry town, and over the last 10 years, I think that's really changed. So economically, we have a lot of different types of employment here. So if things do go down, or if there is a crash in a certain subsection of employment, I don't think it's going to be as drastic as it was when we had oil and gas go down.
Yeah.
Telecom go down.
Okay.
So we've seen a lot of diversification of our employment here in Denver, which is great.
That's great. Yeah.
Yep.
The growth is always good.
It's very good.
And then as far as what you do, you serve, you sell, you do buy side representation, sell side
Sure.
representation of inside Denver, the city, as well as I guess for
Suburbs.
me, if I look at the map, it's outside the highway, right? So the suburbs.
The suburbs.
Yeah.
That's where a big portion of the population is
Okay.
because of the schools. So
Yes.
the school,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
school
Okay.
districts are really strong in the South metro area.
Public schools.
Public schools are very strong.
New Yorkers they don't even know what that is.
They don't even know what that
only
means.
talk about private schools only.
Oh my gosh, move here because our public schools are so good you can't
Oh.
believe it. No, there are
So they have the IB program and the AP program.
high ratings. It is where in a lot of the country it is middle income is going to a private school because they have to.
Yeah.
And grandma and grandpa and cousin, everybody's chipping in so the
Yep.
kids can go to a
Yep.
private school. That's the exception to the rule in Denver. Most kids go to the public schools because they're so strong, and it's a choice to go to a private school.
See, I heard Joe Rogan said he hates LA because he doesn't want. Joe Rogan's the podcast, he's a big podcast guy too.
Uh-huh.
But he wants to move to Denver possibly because he knows that the school system is good for his kids, and also
Right.
the whole notion of being an overpopulated city sometimes does have an effect on the education system.
Right. No, and
I
we're
heard 25,000 people moved to Denver or Colorado a month or something like that.
It's a huge number. It's
Yeah.
a huge number. But we're even seeing where Denver, as soon as people had kids, they'd move to the suburbs. Have kids move. We're
to
seeing
suburbs.
that change over the last 5 years where younger couples or couples who get married and are going to have children, they're staying in the city. So we're even seeing schools within Denver proper, elementary schools,
That are coming
shift up and coming, changing. Scores are coming up, which is a really, really great thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So more about your business.
Sure.
How do you serve your clients and customers? What's your specialty?
I think going back to our original is I've had to start from the ground up,
Yeah.
so it's always been find the deal.
Yeah.
And it's the Hoosier hustle. I grew up in Indiana, so it's always hustling. I say you can always find a deal. Where people say, where's the deal? There's always a deal. Find the deal. That's what I tell my team. That's what I tell myself. Find the deal. Service the client. Over-promise, over-deliver.
Yeah.
And you're going to win clients for life. And
Hustle
their referrals.
hard.
Hustle hard.
Hustle hard.
Yep.
Okay, good. And
Yeah.
then on the sell side, the same thing, right? When you say you can't find a deal for a seller, your job is to get the maximum value.
Maximum value is educating them. What do
Yeah.
you need to do to sell your house? Presentation. How are we positioning? Price. You have to educate. You have to be direct and do it on a weekly basis of saying this is where the market is. This is where the market is. Keeping them informed of that, so they can be successful.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. If anybody ever has any questions, you could reach her on Instagram. Go ahead and plug your Instagram
My
handle.
Instagram is Jessica_Northop, NORTHROP.
ROP.
That's right.
Okay, great. And she's always available. Easily reach there.
Yes.
So thank you guys for listening to the Real Talk episode, and we'll see you next time.